Okay, Drew, so we've had some questions come in.
Okay.
That I'm going to now put to you. The first one being from Hello Celine, from Celine.
Hi, Celine.
Who would like to know what is the difference between drawing who a character is on the page, you doing that, creating a character, and who they become and who maybe they think they are?
Tell me again.
So what is the difference between you drawing a character on the page, so creating, constructing a character, and then they becoming who they think they are?
Okay, so it's a good question, I think.
Isn't it?
I don't really think about my characters before I start writing them. So it's not like I've got this idea in my head, like this is what I'm going to write about. So I generally have an opening in a situation. So like in Flamingo, the hotel dishwasher waking up in bed with a hangover. But when I start writing that, I don't have an idea of who he is or what he looks like or what his backstory is until I start writing it. So it's really on the page that he comes to life. And then once I've got like the first draft of it, there might be a series of events that character will undergo, but it's only going back and rewriting it that I'll kind of work out who that character is.
So do they call this, is this an organic process? Is that how it would be described?
I don't know, maybe it is for me, but I know I've spoken to another writer before, and she said she had like literally had a Excel spreadsheet with the chapters and what happened in. There's nothing wrong with that, it's just a different way of writing, so it's not how I write. I remember I like George Saunders a lot, the American short story writer, and he put it really well. He said, like, so when you first write something, it's like moving into a house. So you've got like a house, and you can design it as you want. You can put your cushions in there, and you can put the chair where you want, but it doesn't feel like home. And then over the years, like, you move the cushions around, you go on holiday and buy a little trinket and put it on the shelf, and that your home gradually changes. And that's how the characters develop for me. So by writing and rewriting and rewriting and rewriting. And although I find that often the story, the way that the plot goes from one point to the next, will stay exactly the same, what that story is about might completely change. So just in what the character's like, and
so you're a pantser, not a plotter. You don't have, kind of an end point in mind before you. No.
I think that was the problem with trying to write for commercial fiction for an agent. I was trying to think of a plot, and I think I've learned just the hard way, really, that trying to write to a plot, that I can't do it. It just becomes dead, and it's just not for me. So I'd much rather just make stuff on the hoof as I go along, and then work out what it's about later. And
so do you think that lends itself more to short stories as well? Because a short story is, maybe you can be a bit more free with it because you've not got as far to go, kind of thing. And if it goes wrong, you can just go, well.
Yeah, for example, so the first story in Saltburn is called Meltdown, and that opens with a young man watching the Chernobyl nuclear disaster on his TV, or a documentary about it. So I had no idea where that story was going to go, that was just the opening. But then, of course, because it started with that, he ends up training to be a nuclear engineer and gets a job in a nuclear power station and get involved in a meltdown. So there was certainly no intention from that opening. It just kind of, that opening, watching a Chernobyl disaster, led somehow to him being involved in a nuclear power station. So they kind of, it's organic, but there's also, I think stories have their own internal logic, that once you start it and then write the next bit, it's kind of inevitable where it's going to go. It can only go in a certain direction. So
it takes the lead, kind of thing, and you just follow.
Yeah.
Lovely. There you go, Celine. Hopefully that's satisfied your curiosity with that one. Thank you, Liliana.
Hello.
And she wants to know, do your characters, I think we've kind of just answered this, but do your characters have their own thoughts and internal monologues? And if so, how do you choose what you actually write down and what you do with the rest of their thoughts? So are you ever, I guess what she's kind of asking is, are you holding anything back? Do you ever maybe have to rein it in because they're, you know, taking over too much? I think is what she's maybe asking.
I think probably I used to, but like we've been saying, so from about 2019, I just thought I'm just going to write what I like. So that's kind of Flamingo Hotel and Saltburn are unfiltered what comes out of my brain, really. So yeah, and it's interesting, the character in Flamingo, because I don't know what he's like. I don't know what his sexuality is. I don't know what he looks like. I don't know how old he is. I don't know what. All I know is how he exists in that moment. So, yeah, I talked about this on Substack when someone was admiring a piece of writing because it described what someone looks like, and I don't really know what my characters look like, and I don't know if that's some lack in myself that I can't visualize anything. I don't know what. If I read a description of someone, I don't know what they look like. I can't work it out in my head. I can't see it. So so I don't write characters that have a way of looking. I don't know what they look like. So I suppose that's good in a way, because that leaves it up to the reader then to decide
to use their imagination.
What you in Flamingo is like. Because when I was writing, I thought sometimes I'm writing stuff about that happened like obviously years ago in his past. And the other time he seems almost like a young man that hasn't. So I don't know. I don't know how old he is, and like none of it's logical. I'm sure if someone analysed it, they'd think this character's a nonsense, really, because he's either a complete person or many different people. I don't know.
Would you say I'm just bouncing off this question now. Sorry, Liliana. Would you say any of your characters are like you, or is there one character in particular that is more like you than any of? I know there's going to be a bit of you in every character, isn't there? But
Flamingo, definitely. He's like,
yeah, really.
That's the closest to my life story that I'll ever get.
Yeah. Okay. Next question is from Vicky.
Hello, Vicky.
Hello, Vicky. So she wants to know: do you have all the characters in place before you start writing? Is the first bit of it. This is a kind of multi-part question. Okay. So do you have them all in place before you start writing? Or do they appear to you as you write, which we've kind of just answered. And then she's wanting to know, are they based on real life?
Okay.
And or do they come to life as you're writing? Which again, we've kind of addressed this, haven't we, a bit?
Yeah. So it's an unpublished book, which I don't know if we mentioned in the end, Cooper's Tube.
We did. I think we did briefly mention.
Okay. So I started off knowing that there was two characters in it, and I liked Spy versus Spy. I don't know if you ever saw the Mad comic.
A cartoon. Yeah.
Two spies, a black spy and a white spy. They're in a room and they're like it was a computer game. They're trying to kill each other, out-trick each other. So Cooper's Tube is based on...
It's very kind of Tom and Jerry, isn't it?
Spy versus Spy. There's two men in a house, and one of them wants to leave and one of them wants the other one to stay. So that's the basis of the story. So I wrote the whole book like that. And then when I edited it, I've spent probably 10 years on this book. When I edited it, I thought it's got no community. It's a bit too intense. It's just these two people. So then I thought I'm going to have to put some more people in it. So then if we talk about creating characters, so then I've actually created 70 extra characters in a 35,000 word, it's a novella now. So there are 70 characters. So the first pages I wanted to do it, because I like it in books where they've got like the name of the character and who they are. So starts with a catalyst, I suppose, which is pages long now, of all these different characters are in it. So I deliberately created all these people. So they're almost like micro history. So when they appeared in the book, I gave them like a little 50 word, whatever, biog, yeah. So I deliberately created an extra 70 characters for this book just because I wanted to have a community.
Thank you, Vicky, for that one. And then we've got Devin is a fan of Seven Nights at least, and he's asking, right, so what lessons did you learn from Flamingo going into the publishing of Saltburn, if anything?
Wow. So no lessons, because I think I said before, so I've finished Flamingo on Christmas Day, and then I started Saltburn almost like a few days later. So there was no time to learn anything from them. I would say that in my head, Saltburn must have been a reaction to Flamingo, because when I look back now and after it's come out, if you've read it, you'll know that people say it's bum obsessed. So in my head, that's the whole reason why Saltburn exists in a whole different universe, where I guess I was reacting to myself, because in Saltburn it starts with when first chapter, New Puritanism parties in power, and they ban bums. So there's no bums, and there was lots of bums in Flamingo, so they're banned at the beginning of Saltburn. So I was kind of telling myself, really, you've gone a bit too far with all these bums. So now we're not going to have any.
But don't worry, there is bum jokes. There still is bum jokes.
So they were like, I guess that was a lesson. That was a reaction to myself that I didn't.
The bum in the jar. I'd forgotten the bum in the jar. Oh God, yeah, yeah. There is bums. Don't worry.
But then that's the whole, I guess it becomes a joke, doesn't it? Because it's like a secret society where they're being sold, aren't they, for cash, because they can't do it. It's like drugs. If you ban drugs, then they go underground. So bums have gone underground in Saltburn, and they become a commodity that people want to buy. Like the English football team's in prison for doing a semi-naked character calendar in Thailand.
And Devin, it was also asking, so I think you may have touched on this a bit, to be fair, but how do you decide which editor to work with?
I don't work with any editors, so I've never asked someone to edit my book, or I don't send it out to beta readers, or I don't have friends that read it. So it's everything I've ever sent off to a publisher is straight from my head.
Yeah.
And then, but once you've got a publisher, they will.
I guess they find you. I guess you don't have much say, do you, over?
So
don't they have their own editors, and you kind of just have to go with?
So
to be fair, you did mention, didn't you, before, about those, what did you call them? The readers that
interns.
Yeah, you did mention that.
Prior to publication. So,
and I guess you had no say over.
So if you work with a book publisher, so when Jonathan Cape, I had the same editor as Ian McEwan, which was good.
Wow.
But they didn't really make any changes as such. It was nice. I always remember Dan Franklin, who's the publisher at Jonathan Cape, and he found from the slush pile Roddy Doyle. And so he said
Roddy Doyle, really?
So he said to my agent Felicity, he said, "Oh, we can't really we don't need to polish this anymore," or something along those lines. That was really nice. So they didn't really change anything once it got to that stage. But going back to Me and Mickey James was the book that got changed the most. I mentioned that the ending was changed, but when Felicity read it, in the very first story of Me and Mickey James, the band split up, and she said you can't really have the band splitting up at the beginning and then them being in love for the rest of it. So that got chopped, and that's the first story that's in the Gay Times Book of Short Stories. So that got cut from the book. With the small publishers, if you work with an indie press, so like Bearded Badger, that was just Paul. There's only one person, so there isn't an editor. Yeah. There's no money to pay for an editor because there's no money at all. So, and then Will Dady, he's the publisher at Renard, and he kind of does it all himself. But he was amazing. Like, he was so meticulous going through Saltburn. Like the tiniest grammatical points and phrasing he would pick up on in a really good way. I mean, it's just I'm just amazed by his brain power that he just questioned every word. So that was good working with him.
And then we've got a question from Catherine. Is very insistent that I tell you this was not her question. It was a question from one of her friends who used to ask random questions all the time in the office when she worked with her, or him. I'm not sure that on the gender. But so the question is this. This is potty. This is absolutely potty. So the question is, if you had liquid that came out of each of your 5 fingers on your right hand, and it comes out in an endless supply, you will have an endless supply of these 5 liquids. What 5 liquids are you going to choose?
Okay. So I guess it's fairly easy to answer because coffee.
Okay.
Like a coffee. Red wine. Like a red wine. Water.
Just in case there's an apocalypse or something?
Well, no, just
be handy,
wouldn't it? Yeah, have a glass of water.
And also, you could at people, couldn't you? You could use it like a water pistol.
Yeah.
So you have to be the middle finger. That.
What about liquid gold? So I wouldn't have to work anymore. I could just produce gold. I'd be like an
alchemist.
Yeah. And I don't know.
You've got one more.
Go on, you choose one. What would you have?
Milkshake.
Okay, then milkshake for Ray from the last one.
There you go, to bring all the boys to the yard.
I can't stand milkshake.
Right, before we go then, can you just tell people, Drew, where, because we've been talking kind of off camera a bit about people that maybe write short stories as a shortcut to try and get a novel published, and they get it published online. But we both feel, I think, the same about this, about people not actually reading. Once those short stories are online, people will like share a link to it on the socials or whatever, but people aren't really reading them maybe as much as we. Yeah, I totally agree with this 100%. Can you tell people where are some of the places that they can go and seek out some of you? Because there are some. Drew has got some amazing. I'll tell you what. Go and check out his Substack, because he writes a really, really cracking good Substack. It's very bloggy, I would say. If you like his writing, you'll like his Substack. But can you just tell people some of the places where we can check out some of your short stories?
My short stories?
I know you do link them in your Substack, don't you? So you will find some links to some in your Substack. But where else could we? Okay,
so there's ABC Tales, which we might have touched on. So you can Google that, and that's just a community website. I'm one of the editors there. And people post short stories or real life tales or poetry, anything. You can post anything there. Everything gets read because there's an editor. In fact, it's my turn today, so someone every day will read all the work that's posted on there, and then if they think it's particularly good quality, they'll give it a cherry. And then every day also there's a pick of the day, there's a pick of the week, and there's a pick of the month. So everything's read and it can get talked about. It depends how much you engage. If you engage other people, they're more likely to come on your work. So I've got stories on there. There's this website called Revolution John, where they've recently published Zach, it's one of the stories from my collection I'm writing on at the minute, called Hot Dog Stories for Lean Days. There is Punk Noir Press. They're really good. They're a really good community. So they have regular call out. So every 3 months, I think it's not a set time, but if you follow them, they have a call out where they'll have stories on a particular theme. There can be just a few hundred words, but they're really good because the people that post there tend to read other people's stories. So it's really nice. If you put a story in there, then it'll get read by the others. And I tend to read, when there's a call out, I'll read all of those, and they're really good. They're more punk noir, so it's crimey stories. There is also, what else about this? I can't think what they're called now. You talked about the Gay Times ones. Are they just available in like anthology, or are they online anywhere? They would be books, but they don't really exist anymore. So you'd have to go to Amazon and buy them secondhand, because that was a thing from the past, really. So who else publishes? Pistol Gym Press. They've started. They are similar to Punk Noir Press. They'll have call outs every few months. Was this where you shared the one and you said you think it's the saddest? Was it Will? Is it called Wilbur? Is it the time? Is this the time travel one? Yeah. This messed with my head. Seriously, I had to read it about 7 times, and I still am not sure that I've got it. But it's exactly what the editor said. He goes, I don't really know what's happening in this, but I like it, and I like the feel of it. That's in the Hot Dog Stories as well. So so that's Pistol Gym Press. And again, the community there is really good. They'll read your stories. So there's a few. There you go. And Sunburnt Saints is forthcoming. Oh, yeah. So the Sunburnt Saints are a new, they've existed before in a different iteration, and now they're starting up again. So they're going to publish every 3 months a chapbook, which is, if you don't know, it's a small book, about 20 pages, single stories. It's subscription only, so you pay £20, so £5 for each one, posted to your door. So my story will be their launch title in the beginning of September. So if you Google Sunburnt Saints, then you'll get a new story by me in September. And watch out, just watch your socials, because you'll be publicising this on your Substack, your Instagram, won't you, as well? And that's one of my Hot Dog Stories as well. So there'll be, hopefully that'll get published next year. We look forward to it. Drew, thank you so much. Can't thank you enough. And yeah, good luck with, hopefully, hot dogs. Hopefully, at some point, a bestseller is on the horizon. I don't know about that, but yes, thank you. Thanks if you've watched. Thanks very much.
Take care, keep reading everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe.